Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to watch the video and hang with me for a little bit. Always grateful for that. And guys, back by popular demand, we're going to have a conversation today about how pro anglers go to the bathroom when they're on the water. I actually covered this about very early on my YouTube channel, like 3 or 4 years ago, but I've had a couple people ask about it, so we're going to go over that in today's video. I think you guys will find it pretty interesting. Also, guys, just a quick reminder, just wanted to let you know about the summer kickoff sale that Tackle Warehouse has on all their stuff going on there. They got a bunch of really good sales on everything you may need, for your fishing, whether it be tackle or raincoats or electronics, trolling motors, whatever like that. I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description if you guys want to check out that sale and use that link that I put in there. It's a really good way to support the channel. Much appreciated by me and my family. So just want to let you guys know about that. Okay, guys, this is sort of a part, this is just as big of a part of bass fishing as actually catching fish, because when you're on the water for as long as we are, you're going to have to use the bathroom, number one and number two both. And this can be the challenge this presents. It can vary greatly based upon where you're fishing at, because if you're fishing at a lake like Lake of the Ozarks here in Missouri, where it's wall-to-wall boat docks, and even if you go in the back of the cove, you can't hardly find any place where you can get away, to yourself and have some privacy. And some lakes, if you're in more of a remote type of lake, it's not a big issue with that. So I want to sort of get into this a little bit and talk about some stuff that I've experienced on my own. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about number one. Number one is a lot more, it's usually a lot more easy here. Depending upon the situation you're in, most of the time people just, either go to the front of the boat, front of the back of the boat, and just, take care of themselves, relieve yourself like that. I have seen some situations where it's been very crowded, where people will have to get down on the floor of the boat and use a can. I've actually drawn 2 or 3 different female anglers throughout the course of my career, and that's how they did it. They just took a little can with them and used them like that. I even had a couple people tell me that some of the female anglers had used the live well before. Well, I haven't experienced that, but I've heard of that a little bit. But that's not the main issue. The main issue is when you have to go number 2 with that. Now, there's a couple different scenarios here. First of all, the tournament rules, you're not allowed to get out of the boat in case of an emergency. Now, obviously, if you got to go to the bathroom, you can get out of the boat. And it's one of those things, tournaments will allow you to do that, to leave sight of each other, to have your privacy to do that. Now, that's one aspect of it, if you can find a place to go. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes the bank's too steep, or there's too many houses there. So, I've had situations where I've had to run 3 or 4 miles away just to find some type of a bank that didn't have any people on it to get out there. And some situations, guys, this is another situation, you can't get to the bank. I fished some of the places like up at the Great Lakes before where you can't get to the bank, and you just got to hang it over the side, man. And if you have to do that, the way to do that is get on the driver's seat and put your legs between the throttle and just hang on like that, because you can hang on to the steering wheel and not fall in with that. So that's one aspect of it there. I got one funny story here. We were fishing a FLW tournament down at Grand Lake. I got a couple different stories. It's sort of funny with this. We were fishing a FLW tournament down at Grand Lake, and one of my buddies down there, we were talking. It was the second day of the tournament, and we were sitting there talking before blast off, and he goes, "Block it." He goes, "You're not going to believe what happened." He goes, "I look back there," and he goes. He was getting his boat ready that morning, everything. He goes, "There was a turd in my splash well." And apparently his partner the first day of the tournament had to use the bathroom, and he didn't even pay attention to what he was doing back there. So he went to the back, and I guess the guy relieved himself in his splash well and just left a present for him in there. And I have heard of people doing that in live wells too. So that's sort of something that's extremely inappropriate with it. And then there's another situation. Here's another little story about that. This is sort of like a funny story. There was an angler named Dave Smith, and Dave actually passed away earlier this year, but he fished the Bassmaster Elite Series every day, for years. and also the FLW tour. And Dave, it's like every morning he had a really regular cycle. It's like every morning taking off, he always had to use number 2 when right before we took off. And it's like every tournament that I was ever around him in, and people were saying this too, you know how everybody's floating around out there in the middle waiting to take off, talking to each other. David just, pull his pants down and hang over the side of the boat and just relieve himself with number 2 right in front of everybody while he's talking to people. It's like he didn't even care with that. So he sort of became famous with that. But anyway, it's a main thing about that, guys. It's just sort of you have to be creative. It's something everybody's going to have to deal with out there, and every situation's different. So I just wanted to pass along a few of those stories, and let me know if you guys got some stories. I'd be curious to hear that too. And hope you guys are well. We'll talk later.